Good morning, and welcome to All People's Church, Unitarian Universalist. My name is Marianne Clark, and I will be your co-celebrant this morning. In the pulpit is our minister, our wonderful minister, Lori King Nelson. If you have been here before, one time or many, you are welcome here. All People's Church is more than a place to gather on Sundays. It is a community, a spiritual home where you may develop and deepen your gifts. We gather to feed our minds and souls that we may each become blessings to our families, to our friends, and to the larger world around us. If you're a visitor today and haven't yet signed in, please do. There's a visitor's table by the front door. Signing in will give us the opportunity to acknowledge your visit and to place you on our mailing list to receive our weekly emails and our monthly newsletter. Before we continue with our service, there are a few announcements. This Sunday, January 12th at 12:30 p.m., you are invited to join the discussion on Texas Tough, that's a book, by Robert Perkinson. Alex Reynolds will give a summary of Chapter 4, The Agonies of Reform. At our December discussion, Jacob Green led us in a discussion on how leasing convicts out to private plantations and mines was worse than slavery. This month, we will discuss why state farms and prison reform did not have the positive effects that were expected. If you have not read the chapter, Alex's summary will include everyone in the discussion. The discussion will take place in Yeager's parlor over there. Notice these lovely little plants that we have here. There are similar plants for sale in the plant sale in the foyer after church. $5 each, what a good deal, for potted plant to benefit the church flower fund. And there are two more announcements, one from Joe and one from Colleen. Is Joe here? Colleen, why don't you come up and we'll catch Joe when she comes in.
So there are many opportunities at this church to be of service. I'm going to offer you today a rare opportunity to be of service through the Caring and Sharing Committee. For those of you who do not know what that is, I think of it as opposed to an outreach committee, we're an in-reach committee. So we direct our attempts toward caring and sharing with people in the church, including all of you, and connecting all of these people together. We're going to have a meeting Sunday, January the 26th, the fourth and last Sunday of January at 1 p.m. Reasons why you should join this committee instead of something else. One, it gives you an opportunity to demonstrate the love that we affirm every week here in the service. And number two, we have very few meetings, usually about 2 or 3 per year. Okay, so this is a wonderful thing in the committee. The current members are Joy Fletcher and myself, who are the co-chairs, and Marianne Clark and Joel Bailey, and just joining us is Dean Patterson. There's a lot of room left for you because Joy is going to be leaving us to move out of state in just a few months. Joy has been a very wise and caring committee member and has supported us a lot and helped a lot of people. So we're looking for somebody kind of like that. If you're slightly interested, just come to the meeting on the fourth Sunday after church and see what we do. If you're very, very interested, talk to me after the service today and I'll get your email address and send you out all the background information that I'll be sending to the committee members before the meeting. And before I go away from the microphone, I want to let you all know about one of our members who needs your thoughts and prayers. That's Jerry Chilcutt, who is actually our board vice president this year. She's going to be having a slow recovery from a delicate surgical procedure. I think she's going to be okay, but she's going to have to be down for a long time, and she doesn't like to be down. So be thinking about her, and thank you for listening.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Burnham, and this is the second Sunday. First of all, I would like to thank all of you who gave so generously last month. We raised $167 for Don't Forget to Feed Me. I've already had 3 people give me generous donations today, and I would like to ask if you have $1 or $2 to spare to keep the animals with their families, to keep the animals with the shut-ins who sometimes that is their only friend. $1 goes a long way, buys a lot of cat food and a lot of dog food. So if you have any spare change, just come to me after the service. I'll be there in the coffee hour. And once again, thank you from Don't Forget to Feed Me and myself and all the animals. Thank you.
And now please settle yourself comfortably for our musical prelude.
Thank you, Misha. Music that settles and centers my soul. Let us call ourselves to worship. Our words this morning come from Kent McCusick. In the name of all that is holy, may the connections between us inspire and sustain us. May the flame of life within us and amongst us be a sacred reminder that we are all called to serve, to grow and to love as we continue this journey of transformation.
We now invite you to rise in body or spirit for our chalice lighting, the opening hymn, and our spoken affirmation. Our chalice lighting words this morning are from Grounding Our Faith by Alice Anicheka-Naisman. In a time of uncertainty, when everything around us is changing constantly, each day, new developments, rising numbers, changing guidelines, when the world we live in suddenly seems upside down and topsy-turvy, we light our chalice to remind ourselves of our grounding in our faith. A reminder of the strength that emerges when we come together in community. Please now join in singing our hymn of the month for January, number 159, This Is Our Song. Love is the doctrine
Doctrine of this church.
Our
The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom,
to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus we covenant
with one another.
The young, please be seated. The young and the young in heart are now invited to come forward for our time for all ages here in front of the chancel. Do we have some young, Paul? Okay. The timing is tricky.
We may or may not, but we have the young at heart here, and the message is good for all of us. I'll just stay up here instead of coming and sitting down there. I was going to talk with the young people this morning about experiences they've had with maybe someone who treated them badly. I think we can all relate to that. We've all been in a situation where we're just going about our business and somebody comes along and treats us poorly. And how do we respond to that? I know that we're supposed to, oh, here they come. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. So now I will come down here. I kind of save my trips up and down the steps, you know. Oh, he's got a candy cane. Hey, good morning. It is a blue one. Yeah. So we're talking this morning about maybe times when somebody has been mean to us or not treated us very well. Have you ever had that happen to you? Do you want to tell me, if you want to share, do you want to tell me what your experience was?
You did this for a better child. No, I didn't follow the instructions on the thing to my dad. Ronan got mad at me to me from when I didn't read the instructions and my experience.
Okay.
And the volcano went out.
Okay, so somebody got mad at her because she didn't read the Ronan got mad at her because she didn't read the instructions, and her volcano erupted the wrong way. Oh, it didn't erupt at all. Okay. You had to pour it out. Well, how did you handle that when Ronan got mad at you? Sometimes these things happen. You're very mature in that thinking. Siblings usually don't respond that way, and that was very kind of you to respond. At least that wasn't my experience growing up. But that's kind of how we should be with everyone, right? Yeah, because we may not really know what set them off. What made them get upset? Was it that they're really upset with us? Or are they upset with something else that's going on, and this particular thing just gave them an outlet to be mean? Okay, so he was already mad about both things. Yeah, okay. So sometimes we have to forgive that, right? And move on and give words like what you gave, that sometimes these things just happen. That's not taking, that's not saying you're wrong, right? It's saying that this is just a part of life. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's my point today is the things that we're living in a world where there are people who aren't nice, and they're always going to be not nice, some of those people. But it's how we respond to them that is going to be the thing that changes our world, right? Okay. Well, hi. You're way over there. I love your jacket.
It's Hunter.
Hunter, yes.
A guy replaced me and him just put the clothes.
Oh, he got the clothes for you? Oh.
Then roll them up and roll them up.
Oh.
And I ended up giving to Daddy.
Oh. Well, somebody has very good taste because that's really cute and it looks great on you. All right. I want y'all to go out into the world this week and think of ways that you can just really be kind to people, especially when they're having a hard time, okay?
Maybe going on adventures.
You're going on adventures. Well, that's a perfect time to try out being nice to each other. Over there, adventures. All right.
Well, there's a candle down there.
Okay, there is a candle down there. You spotted it for us. Thank you. I have no idea.
I don't know why because it fell.
We will investigate that right after service. All right. Y'all take Hunter, and I will see you after church. Can we sing the young people out?
Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. That vision is embedded in congregations of all sizes. No matter its size, every congregation depends on each of its members, each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources helps make that grand vision real. It is our custom to share the undesignated cash offerings that are collected each week. We do this on a quarterly basis for a nonprofit or charitable organization. Our Share the Plate recipient for the first quarter of 2025 is Tarrant County Reading Partners. If you prefer, donations can be made using a QR code, which is on the back of the order of service. The gifts of the congregations will now be gratefully received. Will the ushers please come forward? Thank you, Misha. Please join me now as you are willing and able in our next hymn, number 18, What Wondrous Love Is This?
Our reading this morning is by Emma Merchant. I have never been particularly attached to the idea of family. Do you know the Swiss Family Robinson? It's a story of how a family worked together and survived. It never reached beyond a story for me. It never occurred to me that some people actually felt this way about their bloodline, that the lineage was sacred. To me, it always seemed that blood could be spilled. I have always felt that when people identify family as something important and universal, what they are truly addressing is unconditional love. This is not to say that I hate the idea of family, but I've always been more enchanted by the idea of chosen family. The thought that we are each making a choice to be here in this family, in this community, is powerful. We have actively chosen to come and be here. I'm not stuck with you because you're my cousin, and I'm not allowed to be rude. I could leave if I wanted to, but I don't because of the way that we have each nurtured this community. I choose to be stuck with you, for better or for worse. And we have continuously made this choice over and over again. Every time we attend worship, every time we donate our time and energy, every time we clasp hands in meditation is a promise. I am here for you. The DNA of this community may be metaphorical, but it exists within me. The words covenant and right relation are second nature, placed on my tongue almost since birth. But they are words that I have chosen to bring into my life. My heart beats with the blood of this church, pounding out, I choose you. I am here. This is a safe space, a place of learning, a place of compassion, a space created by the very idea of love. We chose to build a sanctuary because we chose to be together. There's no use for a church of people who hate each other, a church of ghosts. We make the choice to stay stuck together even when we don't want to be in the same room. But we always come back to the table because we choose to be together. Through thick and thin, we have chosen love. And in hard times, struggling times, times that we face every day, we come together even closer. We make the choice to listen to each other. We make the choice to pick each other up. We make the choice to love each other. We have built this community with our commitment to that love. We all have many different reasons for being here, but I like to think that we all have one common reason for being here: love. Over everything else, we are here because we are the people who choose love. We do not have a bloodline, but we have a deep, unconditional love that runs through us all. We choose that love. We choose each other. Our hearts echo, I choose you. I am here. I am here. At this time in our service, we pause to honor and to give time and attention to those things which are most important to us. We gather here for healing and peace in our hearts, and to honor our time together with the shared stories and news from the congregation. Each week there is a journal outside the entrance to the sanctuary where you can write a message of memory or hope before the service. We honor these messages by lighting 3 candles next to our chalice. Also, at any time during our service, you are welcome to come forward and light a candle in our meditation center here at the side of the chancel. In our Book of Memory and Hope this morning, we have been asked to remember Rosalind Hunter and Terry Hancock have just celebrated their 35th wedding anniversary. This was meant to be read last week and was missed, and we will just double celebrate for you, Roz. Joe Burnham's longtime friend, who was more like a sister, died yesterday. Please keep Kathy Morris's family and friends in your thoughts and prayers. Luca Alexander Redman was born January 1st, 2025, son of Robert, I cannot read the last name. Redman. Thank you. Thank you. And grandson of Roy Redman. Yes. Sharon Salih's celebration of life will be at Westside UU on January 18th at 1 p.m. That is a Saturday. I know that some from this congregation are planning to attend, and so if you need a ride, then I'm sure that can be arranged. I believe that Rita posted that Angela Churchill, a past member of First Jefferson, their parents, Sue and Bob Churchill, their house burned in California. There is a GoFundMe page on Facebook if any of you are interested in helping. Churchill. In a world so filled with brokenness and sorrow, it would be easy to lose ourselves in never-ending grief, to be choked by our outrage, to be paralyzed by the enormity of suffering, to feel our hearts squeezed tight with hopelessness. Instead, this morning, let us simply breathe together as we hold our hearts open. Breathing in as our hearts fill with compassion, breathing out as we pray for healing in our world and in our lives. Breathing in, opening ourselves to the transforming power of love. Breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives. Breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts. Breathing out as we pray for justice in our world and in our lives. Breathing in as we hold hope in our hearts. Breathing out as we pray for peace in our world and in our lives. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world. Breathing in, we are the prayer. Breathing out, we are the healing. Breathing in, we are the love. Breathing out, we are the peace. Breathing in, we are the hope. Breathing out, we are the justice. May we know our strength. May we be filled with courage. May our love flow from us into this world. Amen. Blessed be. May it ever be so. We pause at this time to hold and honor the sorrows and celebrations among us, including those deeply felt but left here unspoken. Let us pause for a moment of silent meditation and music. Before I begin, I want to say something about the incredible gift of the life of President Jimmy Carter. While I felt very sad at his passing, I don't consider that a loss. We had 100 years of example. And that is a gift to every single one of us. His ability to take criticism and hatred and continue doing good in the world is something that I am continuing to aspire to. It takes some of us a long time to get there, if we even get there. I felt really fortunate in college to be able to choose what my capstone project was. And it was, I did a research paper on the relationship between Jimmy Carter, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, and Malcolm X. Because if you don't know, there was a relationship between the three of them. They knew each other, they worked together towards solutions for justice. And that was another gift of mine to me, is to find out how much he worked with other people to help better everyone's lives. So I just want to say thank you, Jimmy Carter. And I appreciate, too, that we sang This Is My Song, because I'm sure all of you heard that playing at his funeral. So when you need medical service, you bring in doctors and nurses. When you need the rebuilding of infrastructure, you bring in engineers and architects. And if you have to feed people, you need professional chefs. Jose Andres, founder and CFO of World Central Kitchen. And in this case, CFO is a title Chef Andres gave himself, and it stands for Chief Feeding Officer. Food is essential to life every single day, all over the world, and it's more important than ever in a crisis. Not only is a thoughtful, freshly prepared meal one less thing someone has to worry about in the wake of a disaster, it is a reminder that you are not alone. Someone is thinking about you. Someone cares. Food has the power to be nourishment and hope. Food has the power to be the nourishment and hope we need to pick ourselves back up in the darkest of times. In 2010, Chef Jose Andres, ready to use his culinary knowledge and talent to help, headed to Haiti following a devastating earthquake. Cooking alongside displaced families in a camp, he was guided on the proper way to cook black beans the way Haitians like to eat them, mashed and sieved into a creamy sauce. It wasn't just about feeding people in need. It was about listening, learning, and cooking side by side with the people impacted by crisis. This is the real meaning of comfort food. And it's the core value that Jose, along with his wife Patricia, used at the center of founding World Central Kitchen. While the organization focused on sustainable programming over the years, Jose never forgot about those early days cooking in the camp in Haiti. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, and Jose, with several chefs from his team, decided it was time to act. The group got on the ground and began helping to prepare meals. Jose continued learning, observing how food relief was handled following a crisis. He immediately saw gaps and ways that it could be done better. Then, just a month later, Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico. The storm brought catastrophic devastation, and millions of Americans were in need immediately. Boarding the first commercial flight to San Juan, Jose started in one kitchen, cooking sancocho at a friend's restaurant in the Santurce neighborhood. Building fast, chefs, food trucks, volunteers joined the team, and hashtag Chefs for Puerto Rico was born. World Central Kitchen would go on to serve nearly 4 million fresh meals in the aftermath of Maria. Since preparing the first few hundred meals in Puerto Rico, World Central Kitchen teams have served meals to people recovering from crisis every single day. Hurricanes, wildfires, Tsunamis and volcanic eruptions took the team across the world, growing in knowledge and capacity with each crisis. Initially responding to just natural disasters, World Central Kitchen quickly expanded the definition of disasters to which they respond. They began providing nourishing meals for refugees arriving at the U.S. border after fleeing violence and extreme poverty. Venezuelan families lacking access to food in their own neighborhoods. Heroic hospital staff working nonstop in the uncertainty of a global pandemic. And Ukrainian families living through an unthinkable invasion and the constant threat of attack. Chef Andres says, all of this work is made possible by working with communities wherever World Central Kitchen goes. Over and over again, we see the best of humanity show up in the worst of times. Over the years, Jose and the World Central Kitchen teams have continued to learn, adapt, and build responses unique to each situation and community. They have, at times, made long-term commitments in food systems following disasters. Their food producer network ran for 5 years, supporting small food producers in Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, Guatemala, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. While cooking hot meals with locally sourced ingredients from field kitchens has traditionally been their goal and focus in times of crisis, sometimes fresh produce boxes or meal kits for families to cook themselves are a better fit. Partnering with local restaurants to help their neighbors allows them to get meals ready immediately. During their response to the COVID-19 pandemic, meals that were cooked, cooled, and could be reheated by families safe at home met the unique need of the time. The World Central Kitchen approach is that they should always work with urgency, listen to communities, and adapt, all virtues that guide their work. In 2024, the World Central Kitchen teams provided 109 million meals across 20 countries experiencing conflict, natural disaster, and climate crisis. This month, President Biden awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Chef Jose Andres for his tireless efforts to respond to world hunger. So why did I spend so much time telling you about Chef Andres? Because it's so tempting to feel that humanity is going to hell in a handbasket and that we can do nothing but throw up our hands in despair and cry out to whatever deity we believe in. The reality is that humanity kind of lives in that handbasket. And people have been stepping up to alleviate suffering since, well, forever. Chef Andres is not alone in his essential philanthropic work. We have a great example of that in Don't Forget to Feed Me. In response to the economic crisis of 2008, Terry Woodfin and Kim Pearson formed a pet food bank with the intent of keeping families and pets together when families are faced with the difficult decision to feed themselves or their pets. Fast forward to 2024 and see that this has grown into a partnership with Meals on Wheels, another agency that began as a response to an extreme need. As of 2023, Don't Forget to Feed Me has provided more than 9 million meals to pets in need. I'll share another story of response to need. In 2001, while serving on the board of Vogel Alcove, Cheryl Bogan realized that when clients entered their program, they would often put their belongings in storage, thinking they would be back on their feet quickly. 1 month would turn into 6, and clients could not pay to get their furniture back. Cheryl began collecting furniture off the curb, keeping it in her half of the garage at her house. ready when clients needed a sofa or dining set. She quickly outgrew her garage and asked friends to help fund a warehouse. And you know, after the eviction moratorium ended during the pandemic, eviction numbers soared. People lost nearly everything they owned. As of 2024, the Dallas Furniture Bank has served more than 31,000 individuals and families by providing more than 500,000 pieces of furniture. Regular people, people like us, have historically identified need and actively found ways to address those gaps in resources, and they have done so unconditionally. When the Freedmen's Bureau was established in 1865, its mission was to provide food, clothing, medical care, and shelter for displaced Southerners, including newly freed African Americans. When Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross in 1881, her mission was to provide humanitarian aid during wartime, during pandemics, during natural disasters. The Spanish-American War, the 1887 yellow fever epidemic, and the 1900 Galveston flood are examples of the American Red Cross's early humanitarian service. In the 1700s, an orphanage was founded in New Orleans by the Ursuline Sisters. A free hospital was founded by Ben Franklin and Dr. Thomas Bond. Loving responses have always been there. It's just like Mr. Rogers said, just look for the helpers. They're there. You see, being an example of love means actively demonstrating kindness, compassion, forgiveness, and support in everyday interactions, shining a light of positivity for others to follow. I don't so much think that we've always been less than loving. I think we forget how powerful love can be until something happens and it requires a response from us. We stand, once again, in uncertain times, holding our breath in anticipation of funding and resource cuts for life-saving programs, steeling ourselves in preparation of emboldened hate groups, mass shootings, climate change-related disasters, and civil and world unrest. I say once again because we've been here before, and we met these events head-on using love as a protective shield. We haven't forgotten our core values that hold at their very center the most powerful force of all, love. It's there, waiting for us to pick it up and share it. A few years ago, I had stopped at a Family Dollar store to pick up batteries. I paused to answer a few emails before going in and heard children laughing and giggling. I looked up to see two small Hispanic girls on one of those mechanical ponies having the time of their little lives. After a minute or so, the ride ended, and the children complained sadly that the ride was so short. As Mom comforted them and lifted each one off the ride, an older woman got out of her car and quickly approached the family, saying, "Here, please take these quarters and let the girls ride again. This is bringing me so much joy to watch." Then she poured a handful of coins into Mom's hands as the children squealed and jumped back on the pony. When I returned to my car, the children were still riding the mechanical pony and laughing. And as the generous woman was driving away, I caught a glimpse of her bumper stickers. One said, "Make America Great Again." The other said, "This is America. Speak English or go home." While I cringed at the message on her car, I was lifted by the message in her heart. And it is in these unexpected moments that I'm filled with hope. When we stand on the side of love, we may find ourselves surprised by who joins us there. I think of Clara Barton and how she provided care for everyone, no matter their status or party affiliation. I think of the founders of the Freedmen's Bureau and how they put politics aside to care for everyone impacted by the Civil War equally. I think of ordinary people who see a need and provide a response, just because everyone is deserving of love. As we stand on the edge of the unknown, just know that we've been here before and that love has always prevailed. Chef Andres said, "Not only is a thoughtful, freshly prepared meal one less thing someone has to worry about in the wake of a disaster, it is a reminder that you are not alone. Someone is thinking about you and someone cares." Food has the power to be the nourishment and the hope we need to pick ourselves back up in the darkest time. He's describing love. Whether it's feeding someone in a war zone, or giving $1 or $2 to feed hungry pets, or putting another coin in a mechanical pony. Each act is an act of love, professing the worth of every living thing. Love will always be the story of humanity. And if we are looking for the light and the way, just follow those shining beacons of love. Will you rise in body or spirit and join me in the closing hymn, number 1014 in the teal hymnal, All of Love. No change. It is not standing. We will be using the lyrics on the board.
Our closing words. Sorry, I don't know where our closing word came from. Okay, knowing how quickly the flame of truth may be extinguished, how easily the chalice of fellowship broken, let us be vigilant in faith and keep peace in our hearts and make care for one another the watchword of our lives together, so our light goes out everywhere into the world.
Love holds you. Love bears witness to all your inherent dignity and worthiness. It witnesses how you try, succeed, and fail, and it does not flinch. Love will not let you go. Love holds all of you. Our service has now ended, and we invite you to join us in the rear of the sanctuary for coffee and conversation. May you have a glorious week.